My uncle thought the family inheritance was his birthright, so I turned the whole family against him. When my grandfather passed away, he left behind not just money, but a family that was already on shaky ground. See, my Uncle Richard had always been that guy, the one who thought he was the smartest, most deserving person in the room. He strutted around like the family name was his crown, and the inheritance, in his mind, it was just his birthright. The problem, Grandpa didn't see it that way. At the will reading, the lawyer went through everything slowly. Grandpa had split things fairly, some money to each grandkid, a little trust fund for the youngest cousin, even donations to charities he loved. My mom and her siblings each got an equal share of the estate, except Richard wasn't satisfied. He leaned back in his chair, smirked, and said, "Clearly there's a mistake. I'm the eldest. Dad promised me the house and the land years ago. He wouldn't divide it up like this." The lawyer politely shut him down. "This is the legal will, signed and witnessed. There's no mistake." That's when Richard snapped. He accused my mom of manipulating Grandpa in his final years. He accused me of poisoning Grandpa against him because I used to visit more often. He even slammed his fist on the table and shouted, "This family owes me everything." It was like watching a toddler throw a tantrum in a suit. But here's the thing. Grandpa had told me stories before he passed. Stories Richard never wanted anyone else to hear. Like how Richard had borrowed thousands of dollars from Grandpa over the years, never paying him back. How he sold off family heirlooms without asking. How he even tried to force Grandpa into selling the cabin just so he could buy a boat. So when Richard started going around to relatives, whispering that he was cheated and that they should back him in contesting the will, I decided enough was enough. I gathered every receipt, every email, every note Grandpa had given me about Richard's loan. I even found an old voicemail where Richard was screaming at Grandpa about money, demanding he sell land to bail him out of debt. Then, at the next family gathering, when Richard stood up on his soapbox again, ranting about how the will was unfair, I let him dig his own grave. I calmly said, "You're right, Uncle. Let's show everyone what Grandpa said about you." I played the voicemail. I passed around copies of the loan record. I showed text where Richard begged for money, promising he'd repay it tenfold once Dad left him everything. The room went silent. You could practically hear Richard's ego shatter. One by one, family members started turning. My cousins called him a leech. My aunt told him he'd embarrassed the family. Even his own wife walked out, muttering, "I warned you this would happen." By the end of the night, Richard was standing alone, red-faced, spitting insults at everyone, and nobody cared. Nobody followed him when he stormed out. The best part, with everyone united against him, his plan to contest the will collapsed instantly. No one would support him, not even his sibling. He lost not just the inheritance battle, but the little shred of respect he had left. Now the cabin is still in the family, the money is divided fairly, and he's the bitter uncle no one invites to holidays anymore. He wanted the family to bow down to him. Instead, I turned the entire family against him, and honestly, it felt like Grandpa would have been proud.